Hello and welcome to week number 5 of Discovering Alaska and Earth's Physical Geography. We are making progress. The semester is winding down, and before I start, I just want to let everyone know that next week, week number 6, has a lot of content in it. And so I strongly recommend that you get started on the week number 6 homework in particular as you proceed. Both this week's content and next week's content involve the use of a lot of maps in the lecture material and in the homework material as well. So if we scroll all the way down here to our current module, which is Tectonics, Volcanism, Hazards, and Weathering, you will see as you scroll down here that there are maps to accompany lectures along with the regular videos that show up. Now, you'll see that anytime I mention a map in a lecture, it appears in that folder as well. And I want everyone to know that it's important to take a look at those maps and to spend a little time studying them and going back to the lecture material to hear what I had to say about them. Because I do have exam questions with snippets of those maps on the exams. And so if you don't have any familiarity with the maps or just a very vague sense of familiarity, it's going to have an impact on your grade on the final exam. And as always, I really want people to be successful in the course and to be successful in the exam, which is why I have the whole homework system in the first place. So that's the first thing that I wanted to mention. And this is both sort of a function of this week's material and next week's material as well. In physical geography assignment number 5, you're going to be looking a little bit about earthquakes and earthquake hazard, and you're going to be using a new tool in Google Earth, and I would encourage you to get started on that relatively soon as well, though it's typically not a very difficult one for students to complete. Underneath lecture materials, one thing that's going to show up here a little bit more is some Google Earth visualizations that I have made, like the Eagle River Thrust Fault, Mount Fuji, and Devil's Desk. Those are special things that I've used something called Google Earth Studio to make, and they're sort of fun to make, but I don't have too many of them here so as not to overwhelm you. I wanted to show you a map today that is related to the karst material that you will be learning about in this class. So let me bring that map up here in just a sec. Okay, I've got it. This is a map of a cave in central Pennsylvania where I am from. It's called Aitken's Cave. And central Pennsylvania, the valley areas are all full of limestone and lots of karst. And so where I grew up, there were great examples of disappearing streams and sinkholes and cave systems, and even in some places, some of the interesting karst valleys and what's called doline topography that's associated with karst. And as a young person, I spent some time in caves actually doing spelunking. I had a couple friends who were very good spelunkers. In fact, one was a cave mapper. And this is a map that I don't know if he worked on it, but he certainly introduced it to me. This is a cave now that's closed in part because if you take a look at it, you'll see that there is a bat room in it. And I kid you not, truly a bat room where bats lived. And eventually they closed the cave off because the population of bats was being disturbed too much by amateur spelunkers like me, though I never went to the bat room. But what you'll see here is first, on the surface, there are little sinkholes around, and those sinkholes are there in part because rooms like the register room and the breakdown room, the barn room, and the bat room at one point collapsed, creating the sinks on the surface of the earth. The caves themselves are created by joints in the limestone. And as relatively acidic moisture moves its way down through the vegetation in central Pennsylvania, it gets into these joints and through carbonation, as the lecture talks about, starts to erode pathways and small little channels, and then larger areas where more water collects. Many of these passages are quite small. In fact, a few of them, especially these passages through here, could only be accessed by crawling on your belly, or in some places crawling through areas, sometimes filled with water as well. So I just wanted to show you sort of what a cave looked like inside. I'm happy to share this map with anyone who wants to see it. I didn't include it in the regular maps, but it's certainly something that if you want to look at, you are free to get a copy of. So that's all I have for you. As always, feel free to reach out to me, ask questions. I try to respond very quickly. And if you have some special question that you have about volcanism or about karst topography or something like that, I'd love to get those sorts of questions too. So that's all for now. Have a great week.